Hi everyone, it's John from Double Sleeved here, and we have what will probably be the final video of these Ikoria spoilers. Here we go, let's just get into it. Majority of these cards will be Ikoria, Lair of the Behemoths, but we've got a couple that are C20 that I have not covered that are kind of rare. So we're going to begin with Cryptic Trilobite. It's a 0/0 for XX. Creature Trilobite. Cryptic Trilobite enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. Remove a +1/+1 counter from a Cryptic Trilobite. Add 2 colourless. Spend this mana only on activated abilities. And then 1 tap. Put a 1/1 counter on Cryptic Trilobite. So, yeah, you're whacking it on for 6 mana. It's got 3 +1/+1s on it. You take 1 off. You gain 2 mana, so in theory it's paid. It gets back what you put into it, and you can use one of those two to pay and tap it and put 1 back on. So in theory it gives itself, it generates 1 mana for free after you've at least invested 2, so 4 mana into it. It will then just generate. So, but interesting, it's also a creature and it can proliferate and onto it, which grows its counters, and yeah, interesting. And I guess you can just remove as many as you like, especially as potentially it gets killed or whatever. You can just take the counters off it and be done with it. So interesting card. Avenging Hunt Bonder. It's a 3/3 for 3 white. It's a creature human warrior with double strike. Whenever Avenging Hunt Bonder attacks, put a double strike counter on another target creature, attacking creature. Lots of these counters flying around. It's a double strike, especially if you can double strike something big and scary. Yeah, okay, don't mind that at all. Souvenir Snatcher, a 4/4 for 4 and a blue. Bird, just a bird. Mutate 5 and a blue, flying. Whenever this creature mutates, gain control of target non-creature artifact. Sorry. So it's just, yeah, it's just stealing shiny objects, which I like, over and over again as it mutates. Again, blue seems to have quite a lot of the low mutate costs associated with it, so potentially you could do that a fair few times. Yeah, not bad. Now we're on to the Ikoria cards. So, Capture Sphere. I like about this is that there are 3 cards, and you'll see them, I think the next one, and then one later on, that are like a little story. So this is like the middle card, where the sphere is captured this dinosaur from this guy. 3 and a blue. It's an aura. Flash enchantment. When Capture Sphere enters the battlefield, tap target enchantment creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. So we've seen it before, but the artwork is just gorgeous. And this is the last of the 3. Cathartic Reunion. 1 and a red. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard 2 cards, draw 3 cards. We've seen that sort of mechanic before. Bless. Look at them. Oh. Checkpoint Officer. It's a 1/2 human soldier for 1 and a white. For 1 and a white, tap, and then tap target creature. Again, fairly standard white card. Not particularly powerful, but for the humans, it seems that there's a lot of that kind of effect going on. Dranith Healer. A 2/2 for 2. 2/2 for 1 and a white. Human Cleric. Whenever you cycle another card, you gain 1 life. And this has also got cycling for 1. Quite a lot of cycling synergy. Interesting to see how that plays out and how important that could be in the meta. We've got a 1/3 Dusk Mentor for 2 and a black. Another human cleric. When Dusk Mentor enters the battlefield, puts a lifelink counter on target non-human creature you control. So again, more counters happening. A 1 black tap, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control with lifelink. So again, adding counters, growing things, bit of a later game thing. Yeah, okay. Cool art as well. Essence Symbiote. It's a 2/2 for 1 and a green, so 2/2 for 2. A beast. Whenever a creature you control mutates, put a 1/1 counter on that creature and you gain 2 life. So this one's just going to sit there and watch everything else mutate and grow as it does so, and you gain life. I think this is going to be, again, one of those kind of Edgewall Innkeeper style cards potentially. I know it's a little bit, obviously it's 2 mana, not 1, but it's just going to buff everything as it mutates. Good card. Frill Scare Mentor, a 3/2 for 2 and a red human warrior. When Frill Scare Mentor enters the battlefield, put a menace counter on target non-human creature you control. 2 and a red, tap, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control with menace. So similar to the lifelink card we saw earlier with the mentoring. It's, we're going to see menace, lifelink, death touch, double strike, all these counters in abundance for sure. And the way you can manipulate it, it definitely feels like there's this human synergy, there's this creature synergy, and there's this combined kind of human creature combo. So interesting. We've seen in German or something similar. Fire Prophecy, a 1 red instant. Fire Prophecy deals 3 damage to target creature. You may put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library. If you do, draw a card. So you don't discard it, which I think is worse in this, as the graveyard is definitely used quite a bit, but it gets you a card draw. In red, could be useful. 3 damage and a bit. I think that's going to be helpful. Not quite seeing where the toughness cutoff is for some of the cards, but definitely 3 damage is nothing to be sniffed at. But then you've got a Flame Spill for 2 and a red, which I think is a good card. Flame Spill deals 4 damage to target creature. Excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller instead. So dead good in terms of killing a painful and annoying card that's maybe 1 toughness, 2 toughness, something like that. Being able to then hit the controller for the extra. Fight as 1. This is another one of those synergies between the human and creatures. For 1 white, choose 1 or both. Target human creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains indestructible until the end of turn. Target non-human creature you control gains +1/+1 and gains indestructible until end of turn. So you're gaining 2 cards, getting benefit from 1 mana. I think that is a lot of value if you can line it up correctly. I mean, useful even if you just use 1. Sanctuary Smasher, Literation. I also like the little, you can probably see it, the little foily, that way, foily number. Yeah, I can't point to it. At the bottom of the card, the flames, and that's cool. So it's a 6/4, 4 red, Rhino Beast. And what a beast it looks to be. First strike, cycling for 2 and a red. When you cycle this card, put a first strike counter on target creature you control. So you're getting early game benefit in terms of cycling, drawing a card, and putting a first strike counter on. And then late game, if you draw this, it's a 6 first strike. Some of this combo is going to be interesting. Garrison Cat, a 1/1 for 1 white. Cat, when Garrison Cat dies, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. I think we're going to see a lot of 1/1 white human soldier creatures. So to get a little cat out early, sacrifice it for something, get yourself a little soldier. I think that's going to be good. Weaponize the monsters for 1 red, synergistic, like it. Pay 2, sacrifice a creature. Weaponize the monsters, deals 2 damage to any target. Almighty Brushwag. Yes. A 1/1 for 1. It's a Brushwag creature. Trample. 3 and a green. Sorry. Almighty Brushwag gets +3/+3 until end of turn. So it's a 4/4 with trample. If you pay the extra 4, just look at it. I'm a fan of hedgehogs. This sort of speaks to me on that kind of term. Looks like it's just in a giant hedge made of sticks. What more could you want? Got the reactions of the creatures in the background. Artists must have so much fun with that kind of card. Another one, Helica Glider, a 2/2 for 2 and a white, Nightmare Squirrel. Squirrels aren't necessarily the friendliest and happiest of beasts anyway sometimes. Helica Glider enters the battlefield with your choice of a flying counter or a first strike counter on it. We've seen quite a bit of that. You can choose one or the other. So flying or first strike, useful, but in practice, how will it be? I don't know. But does it have 3 eyes? I think it has 3 sets of eyes. That's creepy. Horn Bash Mentor, another mentor, 3/3 for 3, so that's 3/3 for 2 and a green. When it's a human warrior, when Horn Bash Mentor enters the battlefield, put a trample counter on target non-human creature you control for 2 and a green. Tap, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control with trample. So this is a green trample-y kind of situation. You're trampling up something, and then you're growing it later on when you need to. And then Keen Sight Mentor, a 1/4 for 2 and a white. A human cleric. When Keen Sight Mentor enters the battlefield, put a vigilance counter on target non-human creature you control. Again, so that's vigilance for white, 1 and a white. Tap it, put a 1/1 counter on creatures with vigilance. Now we move on to some serious power here with this card. Took me back a little bit, this one. White, white, black, 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 green, green. For a sorcery, return any number of permanent cards with different names from your graveyard to the battlefield. I'm not sure this is necessarily going to be massive in Standard, but it could well be. But in Commander, or Brawl, but let's just talk Commander. I mean, that's all permanent cards for 7. Yeah. It feels pretty broken, but maybe I'm just missing something. Narset of the Ancient Way, 1 blue, red, white for a 4 mana planeswalker. With a +1, you gain 2 life, and you add one of the 3 blue, red, or white mana. Spend this mana only to cast a non-creature spell. For the -2 ability, it is draw a card, then you may discard a card. Which doesn't say cycling. It's the other way around. When you discard a non-land card this way, Narset of the Ancient Way deals damage equal to the card's converted mana cost to target creature or planeswalker. Good for the early game. -6, when you get an emblem with, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this emblem deals 2 damage to any target. So you're gaining life and mana to cast spells with, and then potentially you're drawing cards and dealing damage. Useful card, I think, for 4 mana. Pretty good. I think we'll see some play out of her. Necro Panther. This is a 3/3, 1 white, black cat nightmare with mutate for 2 white, black, white or black, white or black. Whenever this creature mutates, return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is yet another one of these cards. I'm refreshing myself on the rules of mutate. You can play this card for 1 white, black, and then mutate onto it, or under it, should I say, with a, and we've seen some 2 mana mutation cards that trigger that ability over and over again whenever you want to do it. Which I just think things like that are going to be, recurring over and over again. Interesting. A lot of value out of mutate, I think. Offspring's Revenge. Look at that card. That's an adorable kitty cat. 2 red, white, black enchantment at the beginning of combat on your turn. Exile target red, white, or black creature card from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's 1/1. It gains haste until your next turn. So again, something with anything with an enter the battlefield effect, anything with a general effect on it, that is going to be beneficial for sure, especially as it'll happen over and over again. Useful. Parcel Beast. This is one of those cards I was talking about, and may I remind to you my favourite creature type. 2 for a 2 green blue elemental beast. Love me some elementals. Mutate for just a green and a blue. Can't ignore the low mutate cost. For 1 and a tap, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield. If you don't, put that card onto the battlefield, put it into your hand. And that's just for 1 and tapping it. So, for me, this card is you've got a card on the battlefield that has a high mutate cost, has an every time you mutate something happens cost ability. You whack this mutate cost for green and the blue, and you get that value, and then you pay 1, tap the whole beast, and you get the extra land ramp if you need to, maybe at the back end of your opponent's turn. I think that there's a lot of use out of that, personally. Farfinder, a 1/1 for 3 fox creature. It's got vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, and shuffle your library. It's kind of like just some sort of fetch, but it doesn't get onto the battlefield, which is a shame. It's quite expensive, even vigilance. It is colourless, which is interesting, but I just feel like it's lacking a little bit. It is a common, what can you expect? But it is adorable. Regal Leosaur, a 2/2 for 2 for a red-white dinosaur cat. The mutate is 1 red-white. Whenever this creature mutates, other creatures you control get a +2/+1 until end of turn. Again, you could trigger that as many times as you want with lower mutate costs. But again, this is something that for 3 mana, whacking onto another creature potentially gives everything a buff, and yeah, I don't know. I think there's some use out of it. Another ultimatum card, Ruinous Ultimatum for red, white, white, black. It's a sorcery. Destroy all non-land permanents your opponents control. So, again, another commander card for me. Going to be useful. It's a board wipe, but there are other board wipes that are less general. But I don't know if that's going to cut the mustard. In standard play, we will see. Skycat Sovereign, a 1/1 for a white and a blue. It's an elemental cat. Love elementals. Flying. Skycat Sovereign gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control with flying. Love blue-white flyers. 2 white-blue. Create a 1/1 white cat bird creature token with flying. So, interesting that it's an elemental cat and it creates catbirds. It's not a bird, but it does fly. Again, the blue-white flyers, this is just going to sit nicely in that for sure. It's got that mana sink ability later on. Yeah, not seen a huge amount of that, but hey, we'll see. Who knows? Song of Creation, an interesting card. A 1 red, green, blue. Did that in the wrong order. Enchantment. You may play an additional land on each of your turns, ramp. Whenever you cast a spell, draw 2 cards. Card draw. At the beginning of your end step, discard your hand. So, whatever you get off the top of the deck, you're going to need it to be a spell. Draw 2 cards, a spell with lands. Draw cards, play, bang, 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 big turn. Get rid of everything else. Before you play this, you're going to want to make sure you're set up. But could be, potentially, very destructive. Zenith Flare. An instant for 2 red, white. Zenith Flare deals X damage to any target and you gain X life, where X is the number of cards with cycling ability in your graveyard. Another cycling deck style card. Again, could be useful. Could be a big game swing if you've got lots in the graveyard late game. Alert Heedbonder. It's a 2/4 for 1 green or white. Human Scout. Vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, you gain X life for each creature you control with Vigilance. So we've seen a bit of Vigilance synergy, so that'd be interesting to see if you can build solid Vigilance with counters, etc. Maybe there's a Vigilance first strike, lifelink, something like that. But not bad. Not great, not bad. Majestic Auricorn. 4/4 for 4 and a white. It mutates for 3 and a white. It has Vigilance again. Whenever this creature mutates, you gain 4 life. There you go. I felt like I should have said more, but that was all it was. 4 life, it's okay. If you do it over and over again, like I said, could be great, but I've not seen particularly low mutate costs in white. Zagantha the Wellspring. This could well be one of my favourite cards. Is a 5/5 for 5 and either a red or a green. Legendary creature, you guessed it, elemental elk. Okay. Gone but not forgotten. Companion. No card in your starting deck has more than one of the same mana cost in its mana symbol, in its mana cost. So no 3 blue. Interesting to play around. Tap, add white, blue, black, red, green. This mana can't be spent to pay generic mana costs. So it has to only pay for individual costings. Now, why I like this card, it's got Commander written all over it. This is an absolute, and it actually for me, I want to try and play more Brawl. I've done a Brawl, and I will do a couple of Brawl videos. And I think for Brawl, this card's going to be absolutely amazing. I love to do an Elemental Brawl deck. Stay tuned. That will happen in the near future. And it just opens up all the colours for you in Elementals. I don't care for the companion thing. You don't have to play it as your companion if you don't want to, but you could do if you wanted to. I don't know how the companion zone and the command zone work in terms of whether or not it can start in the companion zone and then go to the command zone and then be played from there. I guess some clarity will need to be sought for that, but I just like this card. I think it's strong, giving you that ramp and just enabling your elementals, and especially as it says in the companion restrictions, if you've not got multiple green, red, blue, whatever symbols, then in theory, a bit of mana in the bank, you've had to have 5 in order to get this guy out. You could then play 5 cards that are 1 and a colour, one after the other, or you're playing, your 5 colour spells, which, yeah, could be very powerful. So, like it, is what I was trying to say. Kahira, the Orphan Guard. What a cute card. For 3 and a 2, it's a 3/2 for 1 green or white. A legendary creature again, cat beast. So a lot of cats. Companion. Each creature card in your starting deck is a cat, elemental, nightmare, dinosaur, or beast. Quite good for a spread. It's a vigilance, so we talked about vigilance earlier. Each other creature you control, that's a cat, elemental, dinosaur, nightmare, beast, gets a +1/+1 and has a vigilance. So useful when we just talked about some of the vigilance synergies. Maybe green-white vigilance is a thing. We will have to see. But like it, and I think the card art's cute. Sonorous Hellbonder. A lot of this, the bonding sort of style cards with creatures. 2/2 for a 1. It's a 2/2, a 1 black or red human warrior. Menace, which we've seen a bit of. Each creature you control with Menace can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures, which just ups that Menace stake by that extra 1. That makes it kind of basically unblockable, unless they're sort of tokened out. But yeah, could be really interesting. It'd be interesting to see that Rakdos Menace for sure. Zerda the Dawnwaker, a 3/3 for 1 red or white. Legendary creature, elemental, fox. What beautiful art. A companion again. Each permanent card in your starting deck has an activated ability. Abilities you activate that aren't mana abilities cost 2 less to activate. This effect can't reduce the mana in that cost to less than 1 mana. For 1 and a tap, target creature can't block this turn. So a lot of functionality there. You've got your passive bits, which basically say that active abilities are cheaper, and a tapping ability, which means you can send something through, and it's a 3/3 for 3, a companion that will always be there, ready to go, and it's an elemental. What more do you want? It's a shame. It's just red, white. Is that the best colours? Come at me. Okay. I just needed to show you the art. I love it. We've seen this card before. but whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, flash, mutate for 1 and a blue. Oof, yeah, love it. Splendor Mare, a 3/3 elk unicorn for 2 and a white. Lifelink and cycling for 1 and a white. When you cycle Splendor Mare, put a lifelink counter on target creature you control. So lifelink again. And interesting to see how those different counters will play out. Spontaneous Flight. Look how scared that fox is. For 2 and a white, an instant return. That word is definitely target. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Put a flying counter on it. So it's always going to be flying, and it is now grown +2/+2, which I think is, again, interesting. These counters are very interesting. Emergent Ultimatums is another ultimatum for black, green, rare, blue, he said red, sorcery. Search your library for up to 3 mono-coloured cards with different names and exile them. An opponent chooses one of those cards. Shuffle that card into your library. You may cast the other 2 cards without paying their mana costs. Exile Emergent Ultimatum. This is a game winner. You have 3 cards in your library that are game winning, and you basically just say, which one of these 3 do you not want to lose to? Bang, there you go. And for 7 mana when green is involved, this could be a scary card that comes out very early on. Yeah, I think you'd basically just run a copy of 3 different, or 3 of the same big creatures or big spells or whatever it may be that you want, because they're just monocoloured cards and not even just creatures. They are. It's potentially scary. Another scary card which I love, the Ozolith. For 1 legendary artifact, whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on the Ozolith. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if the Ozolith has counters on it, you may move all counters from the Ozolith onto target creature. That's crazy. So counters, this is going to go in every counter deck, every vigilance deck I was just talking about, lifelink, whatever you want. This is suddenly moving counters around like there's no one's business. And in theory, something can have like a bunch of vigilance counters. Doesn't make it any more vigilant, but it could do. So yeah, the only thing is it has to go onto 1 creature. But if they're 1/1s or a series of different counters, interesting. And here it is, the Forbidden Friendship, that card we were talking about. 1 and a red, a sorcery. Create a 1/1 red dinosaur creature token with haste and a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Look at them. That's cute. Keep Safe. 1 and a blue instant counter target spell that targets a permanent you control. Draw a card. I think that's quite a good card. A bit situational, but dead good. Even just for the card draw. Bushmeat Poacher. Ugh, a bit weird. 2/4 for 3 and a black. Human soldier. 1 and tap. Sacrifice another creature. You gain life equal to the creature's toughness. So useful as a sack outlet, especially if you've got high toughness creatures. And then draw a card. Bit of card draw. Can't argue with that. Heartless Act. Ugh. 1 and a black. Instant. Choose 1. Destroy target creature with no counters on it. Remove up to 3 counters from target creature. If you're playing against a creature, a counter deck, which there might be some in this next meta, then, but yeah, and 2 and a black to destroy a creature. Pretty good. Jubilant Skybonder. I talked about blue-white flyers earlier. A 2/2 for 1 blue or white. Human wizard flying. Creatures you control with flying have spells your opponents cast that target this creature cost 2 more to cast. So again, good, all working together. Interesting to see if there's enough depth in the blue-white pool to see these cards get played. Momentum Rumbler. 3/3 for 3 and a red dinosaur creature. Whenever Momentum Rumbler attacks, if it doesn't have a first strike, put a first strike counter on it. Whenever Momentum Rumbler attacks, if it has first strike, it gains double strike. So this is like first time it attacks. So it comes down, okay. It comes down, attacks, okay, scary. And then it just gets scarier as time goes on. And obviously it will gain the first strike counter and the double strike counter. So useful if you're looking at multiple counters required. Of One Mind. Look, again, this art. This is adorable. For 2 and a blue, it's a sorcery. This spell costs 2 less to cast if you control a human creature and a non-human creature. So there's a little bit of that human-non-human synergy. Draw 2 cards. So you could, in theory, at the right point, be drawing 2 cards for 1 blue, which I think is pretty good. Reptilian Reflection for 2 and a blue. Red. I said red. For 2 and a red. Enchantment. Whenever you cycle a card, you may have Reptilian Reflection become a 5/4 dinosaur creature with trample and haste, in addition to its other types, until end of turn. That's, again, in that cycle deck. For 3 mana, you've got yourself a 5/4 dinosaur creature with trample and haste. Yep. Slitherwisp. Say that 10 times. It's a 3/2 for a blue, black, black. A Nightmare Elemental with Flash. That would be a nightmare. Whenever you cast another spell with Flash, you draw a card, and each opponent loses 1 life. There is definitely some Flash play going on. Not seen like crazy amounts, but it's definitely some good stuff in there. Snare Tactician. A 2/3 for 2 and a white. A human soldier. Whenever you cycle another card, tap target creature and opponent controls. Yep. Tap everything down for a bunch of cycling. Could be okay. And then I believe this is the last card, the Splendid Ultimatum. Not quite as good as the others, I don't think. 2, so blue, blue, red, 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 white, white. A sorcery, target player gains 5 life. Splendid Ultimatum deals 5 damage to any target, and you draw 5 cards. Drawing 5 cards is probably the best part of that. Gaining 5 life, dealing 5 damage is a 10 life swing. Could be useful, but definitely drawing 5 cards is pretty good. But for 7 mana, not sure it's necessarily worth it in my opinion, but I'm sure it will find its place somewhere. And, oh, he said it was at the end, and he wasn't. We've got a couple more. Whenever you cast Whirlwind of Thoughts is a 1 blue, red, white enchantment. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, draw a card. So there you go. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, draw a card. Pretty powerful enchantment there. And then we've already seen these guys. We've seen them a couple of times. And then we're back to the start. So there you go. That will be, as far as I'm concerned, the last of these quick update videos. And I say quick update, it's been 33 minutes. But this will be the last of those sort of videos. So the support for some of these videos has been absolutely outstanding. We are a new channel, and we are trying dead hard to get you some core content, some good stuff, trying to be entertaining, trying to give you informative stuff. There'll be another video at the weekend. Let us know if you want to see a set review. We're going to be looking at potentially doing one of those, but we're going to be doing something a bit different for the weekend, a bit of fun. I hope that you're enjoying the set and everything about it as much as we are. If you want to get any of it, then make sure you check out doublesleeve.co.uk if you're in the UK. We're still trading. We're so small that we can control everything as we're required to, and make sure we're staying safe. So make sure you're getting your pre-orders done and you're picking up any of the product that you want to pick up at the moment. Other than that, as I just said a second ago, with what's going on at the moment, I hope you're enjoying these videos, but more importantly, stay safe, and we will check you out in the next one. Thank you very much. Bye.